film. I absolutely loved it.
Thank you. Thanks, man.
What was it like for you bringing this project to life? It must have been in your head for such a long time, and then to see it finally on the screen.
Yeah, it's a weird process. I wrote the idea for it about 10 years ago, and then wrote the script for it over the past, few years. So it's odd because it's not as weird as you would think, seeing something that you've written kind of slowly come to life, because you're doing it piece by piece by piece by piece. So you sort of slowly become acclimated to the idea that this is coming to life in front of your eyes, and then before you know it, it's all there. It's quite odd, though, but it's really fun thinking back to when I first wrote the idea. I remember telling Joe about it when we were at Sundance with Brick together. So to have that kind of continuity is kind of nice.
And was Joe always the first person in your mind that you wanted to play the role?
Yeah, Joe was, I really wrote the part for him, and for a couple of reasons. We've stayed really close friends since we made Brick together, so just wanting to work with my friend was a big part of it. But also I knew the part was going to require this huge transformation, and Joe is particularly good at that. He's got kind of those leading man type characteristics, but he loves vanishing inside roles, And I love working with actors like that. Emily Blunt is the same way, and she, in her own way, does a transformation into her part. She shows that she's blonde and tan, and she's a Midwestern farm girl, and that, Joe has the flashier transformation, but Emily, in a way, is doing no less of a physical transformation with her part. Yeah.
There's some fantastic scenes in the movie, and one of my favourites is when Jeff Daniels does that scene where he stays completely calm throughout, but the dialogue is extremely gritty, isn't it? Was that fun to shoot, and how did you direct him in a way to sort of keep him that calm, but get that point across?
It was so much fun. Jeff is just like the biggest professional in the world. He just shows up and he's just like, all right, what are we doing? And he's straight into it. And it was just a matter of sitting back and watching these two play off of each other. Joe and Jeff had worked together in Scott Frank's movie The Lookout, and their chemistry in that was so good. I kind of cast Jeff in the role so that I could get that and kind of sit back and just enjoy it. It's one of the fun things about being a director. You just kind of have the best seat in the house to watch these two guys play off each other.
And a lot of the effects are practical; they're not CG. Was that important for you to do that?
It is really important. CG is a great tool, and CG it can be used in smart ways to achieve things we never could have possibly achieved. But I do think that all my favorite filmmakers who work with effects movies, they use CG sparingly and intelligently. Like Guillermo del Toro, for example, creates largely practical monsters and then enhances them in very intelligent ways with CG. Or Chris Nolan, for example, does as much as he can practically and then enhances it. And that's the approach we took with this. With everything from, when we have small objects floating in the movie, instead of creating a CG object, we hoisted the object up on a piece of fishing line and then erased that digitally. So it's using digital in smart ways, I think, and really knowing how you're going to approach it when you come to work in the morning.
And loads of what we see is sort of current day stuff that's been sort of transformed into something futuristic. Is that fun to do as well with your production team? Yeah, well, it's a very grounded world, and that was what we were going for, and that seemed like a cool challenge to me to create a near future that was just like 10 degrees off from ours. That seemed like a cool way of immediately orienting the audience, because we're asking the audience to absorb so much information in that first half hour with time travel and the TK stuff and the plot and everything. I wanted the world to be fairly recognizable, but also just slightly foreign, so it's kind of unsettling, hopefully. I loved the movie so much, and one of my favourite characters was Sid in it. The young child. How did you find him? He was absolutely amazing.
We found Pierce Gagnon is the name of the actor who plays Sid, and we found him in Atlanta. Our local casting director found him, and he is just an extraordinary actor. And he's 5 years old when we shot this, and he would show up and he would do 3-page dialogue scenes with Emily and Joe, and just nail it. He's Joe started acting around the same age when he was 6, and something he's always told me is adults have this notion that you have to fool little kids into giving performances, but little kids can act. There are kids who can act, and I guess seeing Pierce, I really understood what he was talking about. He would just be in the scene and be listening to the other actor and just interacting with him and really in the scene. It was a form of play for him, and he was just so good at it. it was incredible to see, actually. It was kind of jaw-dropping.
Just amazing.
Yeah, right?
I'm going to wrap up, but thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.